Okay, better than any reality TV show. Literally, this book, Chaos. If you need a jaw-dropping read, I mean, this is it. All right, let's get into this crazy book, Chaos. So I saw this was trending, and so I picked it up. And normally I'm not like a big true crime, history, even like conspiracy kind of buff, but this book uh, is seriously amazing. So it's called Chaos: Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. So I picked up this book and I was like, wow, it's pretty thick. I don't know. We'll see. I could not put it down. Could not put it down. So what's fascinating about this book is this guy, I love how he has written this. So, first of all, it's a journalist. His name is Tom O'Neill. And let me set the scene, okay? He was 40 years old. He was a freelance journalist. He is living in New York City. He's driving one of those horse and buggy carriages through Central Park at night. That's his other gig to help him survive in the city because he's not having that much luck in his profession, or he's just, I guess, hasn't had work in a while. So he gets this offer from a magazine called, I think it's Premiere. That used to be a magazine. He gets an assignment. It's the 30th anniversary of the Charles Manson murders that happened in the 60s in California. So he needs the money. He takes the assignment. It's just supposed to be a magazine story about kind of, like what happened and where Hollywood is at 30 years later. Maybe he can get a couple of little scoops or some new gossip and have a little magazine article and call it good, and you'll pay his rent. Okay, so then 20 years later, like fast forward, this is the book. Like he's working on the book and it's like it's become an obsession, right? So what's so fascinating, what I love about this book is that he walks you through the process. Like it's a book about all these things, but it's also about him. It's about him as a journalist, and he's sort of leading you along. He gets the assignment, how he's going to tackle it, how he's trying to get interviews with people. And the first thing he does is he reads Helter Skelter, which I've never read, but that was a book that Bugliosi is the name of the guy, Vincent Bugliosi wrote, who was the prosecutor of the trial of Charles Manson, wrote a book called Helter Skelter, which just basically was his version of the events that led to Charles Manson and his followers murdering all these people. And so he's reading through it, and basically he's starting to see some holes in it already, but he interviews Vincent Bugliosi, and that's the first scene in this book, is the interview that he's having with this guy who is long gone now and was very paranoid and kind of a big bully, like did not want his legacy tarnished. Come to find out, he has so many skeletons in his closet, and that his version of events are leaving out major things. It's not as easy, or easy is not the word. It's not the storyline that he created is not quite exactly what happened. That's for sure. So what's fascinating about this book is he is telling us all about the people involved. So we get a history of Manson himself, which is fascinating, and how he was basically like didn't have a dad. Mom, I think, was, I don't remember. This book is so big, but like sort of not their parents. He's in and out of jail and juvenile delinquent places his whole life. He has trauma happen to him for sure. And he, along with a lot of kids, go to California in the 60s to start doing psychedelics. And it's like the summer of love and the whole thing. And he, amazingly, even though he's on parole, he's been in and out of the jail system, he amasses this like cult, basically, and his followers. And because of LSD and other things, he's able to control what they do, and he's their leader, right? And for some reason, they break the law all the time. They get caught, they go to jail, but they're always back out on the streets. Like their punishment never seems to fit the crime because there is no punishment, basically. So he is interviewing, it's fascinating. So this guy is talking to and looking at not only the history of Charles Manson and his followers before they murdered these people, like what went down, who was he around, who were the contacts, who was in contact with them, what was going on in general in the 60s, which is so fascinating, what the CIA was up to. There's characters in this that are like CIA involved, but then they're also, they're disguising themselves as hippies. They're experimenting with LSD, experimenting on people with LSD to see how you can possibly control people with LSD. Then there's also like the Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski side of it. Sharon Tate is the woman who was pregnant, who was a very famous actress, and the fiance of Polanski who was killed. All the people around them. So you have like Hollywood stars in this and like kids of legendary Hollywood people. I mean, the web is, it is a spider web. It's fascinating. All the details he uncovers, all the ways that just things don't add up. It doesn't make sense. And also what's amazing is there's so many people that absolutely 30, 40 years after this thing has happened, they won't even talk to him about it. Like, there's obviously so much going on, that we don't know about, basically. And it's just totally fascinating. So I highly recommend this book. I thought it was just a crazy trip down memory lane and into the 60s, what the CIA was doing, what was going on in the culture. I mean, I found out stuff about how what was going on with Black Panthers and how the government was trying to disrupt them. I mean, it just is so fascinating. Let me see. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. So I highly recommend this book. I think it's going to be for all the history buffs, for people that want to learn the history you don't learn about in school, that's for sure. And it's also just like, my jaw was dropping. I mean, it's just really, there's a lot of information in here that I never heard of before. It's amazing to learn what our government does to our citizens and has been doing for a long time. It's sobering, that's for sure. And I just think he did such a good job of like kind of bringing us along on the adventure with him. And I'm happy for him that he got to the finish line, that he published this book, that people are reading it. And yeah, there's a lot of loose ends. It's not like it ties up in a neat bow at the end, but the journey of reading it and finding out what he found out is fascinating. So highly recommend this book, Chaos by Tom O'Neill. All right, thanks for watching. Catch you next time on Library Hall. Hey there! If you liked this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. To support us, please use the links in the video description to purchase the featured books. Thanks for watching!